You're run down, you're sick, you're not feeling well. What is your go-to food? What did your mom give you? Well, I'm going to break down 5 foods you thought were healthy, that society oftentimes thinks are healthy, but actually aren't. I'll give you the alternatives too. When I was growing up, it was turned right to this stuff right here. Let's go to the screenshot. Campbell's chicken noodle soup, #1 survey says answer. Super toxic. The store aisle of this is shocking. There's so many cans of soup because we keep voting for it. Why is this a problem? Let's just dive right in. The #1 go-to food, chicken noodle soup. This actually stems from when, I think about like my Grandma Hogan. They used to make broth back in the day. And the reason being, it was very good for the digestive system. It helped seal up the digestive system. It bolstered the immune system. That's Grandma's chicken noodle soup. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in a moment. Campbell's, not so much. Here's why. When you flip it over, here's the ingredients of one of them. And on the front, first of all, it says healthy requests, and it's got this heart healthy, complete BS in my opinion. That is definitely not the food to be putting in for your heart. Here's why. Because the second ingredient, we have noodles. Noodles are going to be wheat, which is a direct source of gluten and a lot of glyphosate, be the herbicide that they use on it. So you're taking in toxicity. The eggs are not going to be free range, which means potential arsenic, potential hormones, potential antibiotics. We have synthetic vitamins that will build up potentially in the system. So the noodles out of the gate, carbohydrates, sugars, which feeds cancer, which feed immune problems. We're going the wrong way. We have chicken meat, again, because of the low quality to produce this stuff to make it cheap. You're going to be getting an antibiotic. You're going to be getting hormone. You're going to be getting the toxins that comes with the chicken. Thank God we got carrots next. We'll take that. And then we start to dive into all the extras. And so we get starch, which turns to sugar. We have an unstable oil flavoring. We have direct source of high fructose corn syrup, which if you were to inject it into your system, it could be fatal. Yet if you eat it, somehow it doesn't kill you, but it goes straight to your liver, which is trying to fight for you during an immune infection. More mechanically separated chicken. Again, that's going to be even worse source more than likely. Low sodium natural sea salt. Not even sure what that is. Just leave the sea salt alone naturally and let us have it, because that would actually be good. More food starch, maltodextrin. In this case, when it's not tapioca, that's going to spike insulin levels. We have milk solids, so now we're introducing dairy, which is going to create more phlegm, let alone the hormones and the antibiotics that come with it. We then have preservatives. We have more dairy. And then we introduce soy, which is going to introduce xenoestrogens and estrogens into the system, also genetically modified. So that's going to throw the system. Yeast extract is monosodium glutamate, which excites neurons, brain cells to death, and some more spices. So you can see this little can has nothing to do with immune health. It's been touted that way. It comes from the old wives' tale, our grandparents, or maybe when you were a kid, of making your own. It's a massive difference between buying that can. I would stay the heck away from it. There is no immune health found in that aisle, whether it's Campbell's or any other brand. So what can we do with it? Well, that's where you can make your own. Bone broth is relatively easy to make. This is a quick recipe if you want to screenshot it. You take the bones and get them from a healthy source, ideally from the market, from at your grocery store. Have the butcher give you the chicken bones, ideally free range if you can get it, so you can get a higher quality chicken. You're going to take those. You can add some gelatin if you want to with the feet. But at least just get the bones, and then add your favorites: onions, carrots, celery. You could do pepper, you can do salt. Apple cider vinegar is fantastic to be putting in here. And then you put it in a large pot, usually a crock pot, and you'll just steep that for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. And you can add any kind of seasonings that you like, thyme or basil or any kind that you sort of, attracted to, parsley, to just make a good broth. This is excellent for giving you high doses of the amino acids that are going to go about repairing your digestive system. It makes it less permeable with the collagen, sealing it up. That's going to bolster the immune system because 80% of your immune system is found inside of your gut. So this is where this actually comes from. So chicken in a can, chicken soup in a can, gotta go. You can make your own. That would be the best route. There are some decent buyable broths. You're not gonna get quite the nutrient value as if you made your own, but I understand it's a timely process. So you'd want it just to be regular broth at minimum. Or actual bone broth you can purchase now as well, whether it's beef or chicken. It's a good source, and that's kind of a good, better, and then the best would be to actually make your own. So when we had the soup, I always put something in it, right? So let's go to number 2. And oftentimes when people weren't feeling well, they would turn to, especially if their stomach was like a bit upset and they wanted just something light, right? We were always told toast or crackers. And the crackers oftentimes went in the chicken noodle soup. So I had a tin. Did you grow up with a tin of these? It was a tin of the premium crackers, right? The little white ones. Did you have this? Comment below if you did. But when you flip this over and actually look at the ingredients of what this is, unbleached, enriched flour, stripped of all of its nutrients, straight to the wheat, the gluten, the herbicides again, the glyphosate. We're going to get a large carbohydrate spike. This is within 4 seconds of being in your mouth is going to spike your insulin levels, which is working against your immune system. There's fortified synthetic vitamins added to it because they stripped it of all its nutrient. The second ingredient, which are very dangerous, are these seed-based oils, right? The soybean, the bean-based oils. So soybean oil is a congestant inside the system. When it's processed from a bean to the oil, it has to go through quite the journey and it becomes rancid. So now it's unstable inside the system, along with its counterpart, cottonseed oil. These are unstable inside the system because of their bonds and their chemical makeups. And then now you put them into your body, and what it does is your body tries to use that to make cells, which is making congested cells from rancid oils. It congests, so sits in the system for almost a half a year. Some of these oils do. They're hard to get out. They create inflammation. They promote oxidation inside of your body. So your body now has to fight even harder. And these alone have been linked to big drops in immune health. So not on a good track so far with these crackers. A little bit of sea salt in there. Thank God. I like this better than table salt, so that's actually a plus. But they did put table salt in there too, which is just stripped down salt, removing a lot of the needed minerals. We have more flour, so more sugar in there, baking soda, and yeast. So there's nothing about this that, even though it's light on the stomach, adding these crackers into the broth or the soup, or just eating them straight up, not a great idea. If you're gonna have a toast, right, or a cracker, you want it to be a whole grain or a seed-based, where it has the whole seeds in it, so the whole seed is actually involved. I like to get them with no oils, or it has to be a stable oil. And you can check my channel out. I have a lot of videos on stable oils. Our favorite cracker that we use at the Livingood household is Simple Mills. It's made with a high oleic sunflower oil. That's a stable sunflower oil. Regular sunflower oil would not be stable, but high oleic is. It's organic, and it doesn't have these sugars in it because it's made with almond flour. So that's a good example of what you could use instead, especially if you're putting them into your broth that you're going to take extra care making. So let's go to food number 3, right? This guy, the number one go-to for bolstering the immune system, OJ. This has been branded as an immune powerhouse because of its content of vitamin C. Now, there are dozens of foods that have higher vitamin C content. Orange juice just beat them to the marketing punch. So there's a very big difference between a glass of OJ and an actual orange. 45 calories, this has 110. 9 grams of sugar in the fruit. Because of the content of the fiber, it reduces it. It's got 2.3 grams of fiber. That's going to lower the carb count. It's going to lower the sugar impact in the body. It's got a little bit of protein. This glass of juice, 26 grams, of carbs, 23 grams of sugars, just in that. And you can see the sugar stacks of a Minute Maid and how much is in there, 28 grams for that one. So that is a sugar bomb going in the system. It's going to work against it. It's going to increase phlegm. It's going to increase coughing. It's going to decrease the fighter cells of the immune system. So OJ's got it. What do you drink, right? Honestly, I turn to water. That's one of the most important things you could do. Adding lemon to the water is going to get you that vitamin C dose that you're looking for, or lime. Strawberries are a good source. Acerola cherry is an excellent source of vitamin C. So you could make a smoothie out of those fruits, give you a vitamin C dose, and have real raw foods that your body can use the vitamins and the minerals that come with them. Also, I like a low carbohydrate green juice packed with a lot of nutrients, packed with a lot of vitamin C as well. Foods like broccoli and cucumber and celery, some of my favorites, you can add in for a boost to the immune system. Now, along these lines, then we try to just put it in a powdered form, right? Let me point out two more very toxic, I wouldn't call these foods necessarily, but we tout them as foods. Emergency, right? This is one of the most common vitamin C tablets / powders that you're going to see on the market. Incredibly toxic. Let me show you why. In the ingredient label, I want to teach you, always go to the ingredient label. It will tell you the truth. And right here, we're running into fructose out of the gates. That's going to increase triglyceride levels. It's going to be very hard on the liver. And so the liver is going to have to work with that extra sugar. It's going to use fat to stuff it away. It's going to send it off as a triglyceride. So that's going to work against the immune system or bogging down one of the main filters. Maltodextrin, if it's not tapioca or organic, then we're really looking at some heavy insulin spikes, okay? Citric acid, malic acid, fine with those for the most part. And then we keep going. We got orange juice concentrate. Okay, so now we're getting concentrated sugar, as we just showed, which puts in 6 grams of added sugar into this. So now we're getting another dose of sugar. We'll get some orange oil so it tastes decent. And then tocopherols to protect the freshness. So this just has a lot of sugars involved with it. Straight up fructose, corn-based maltodextrin, as well as orange juice concentrate. Yes, you're getting some vitamin C. However, you're getting a lot of sugar with it. So this is working as this counteractive. Another very popular one, okay, airborne, gets even worse, okay, gets even worse. So now we start to avoid the sugars that were added in this, and this is the chewable form. You are getting vitamin C. However, they start to add these at the end here. Look at these. So polyethylene glycol, by the way, a known toxin. But then ACE-K right here, a sulfamide potassium, ACE-K. This is an artificial sweetener. It has a neurotoxic effect in the system, as does sucralose. This is another artificial sweetener. So now instead of using actual sugars, I'd rather you use the actual sugars than doing the artificial sugars. These are chemicals that trick your body. It makes you gain more weight, and it depletes the immune system. It's very hard on the brain as well. So I wouldn't go for either of those. When you're looking for a vitamin C supplement, having a high dose can be a very effective way to ward off a sickness. And I have a high dose one that I do use with myself and my kids. I'll put it in the description below. You want to make sure you're combining it with bioflavonoids, quercetin, and the citrusy fruits have phytochemicals called bioflavonoids that they work together to ward off viruses and surge that vitamin C up. Okay, there's great foods that you can get vitamin C from, like acerola cherry, strawberries, broccoli. These are really good sources. Lemons, limes, you can put these in smoothies and go for an alternative. Or if you need a high dose vitamin C powder to put in that still tastes good but doesn't come with the artificial ones, you can check that out below. All right, let's keep going. I got one more big one that I want to show you. When people get into trouble with their weight, get put into a hospital, we're losing weight, we want to get nutrients in, maybe there's a digestive system problem. A lot of this tied into immune-related issues. Remember, my grandfather had cancer. They were feeding him this stuff. Ensure, right? Ensure. This is a go-to hospital, condition-based, disease-based nutrient booster. And the only thing that Ensure is going to ensure for you, I made a little edit here, it's going to ensure sickness, okay? Because this thing is absolutely astounding. They tout it as having 9 grams of protein, 250 calories, and 26 vitamins and minerals. But when we go to the ingredient label, look at this stuff. 23 grams of sugar, 2 rancid oils, which we talked about. It's going to congest the cells and cause oxidation, which is going to, these two are going to push you closer and towards cancer. When you think about my grandfather drinking this when he had stomach cancer, this is fueling that fire. It's got a neurotoxin in it and 2 sources of toxic dairy. Yes, it has some calories, but we're taking in hormones, we're taking in antibiotics, we're taking in known chemicals, we're taking in rancid oils and a lot of sugar into the system. We are making the body fight off this so-called food that we're putting in. So stuff is so toxic. What can you do instead, or what do I advise? And so I've taken care of a lot of people. I've made home visits over the years, and people are using this stuff. They're asking me, what can I use instead? And as a doctor, I would make my own smoothies. And how you can suffice with the calorie content, use full-fat canned coconut milk, okay? Blend it with your favorites. I like to go towards fruits because they have a lot more vitamins, berries, a lot more vitamins and minerals, but lower sugar content, okay? When you start dabbling in pineapples and papayas and bananas, you're increasing sugar content. I try not to do that. So going with berries, mixing them in with full-fat coconut milk, adding in coconut oil is another option. I like a collagen protein to help bolster the immune system and help repair the gut so you can get an immune strengthening, as opposed to whey protein or other proteins that are going to introduce dairy, okay? And then you can add in other vegetables, like a handful of spinach. You can't even taste it. So there are several smoothie recipes that I love on drlivingood.com. We make these all the time. You could go the chocolate route. You could go more of the fruity route, but replace that with it. And so this may be a good option if you're just not feeling it, you're not very hungry, and you're trying to wonder, maybe you're run down, what do I eat? Stay away from ensuring sickness. Reach more for a smoothie. So those are my top ones. 5 different foods that I kind of broke down that a lot of people use. We can do a lot better. You got to identify these, get your habits changed, teach it to your kids and grandbabies. And that's just immune health. If you want to learn about 13 other foods that people generally consider healthy or healthier, but actually are not, check out this video when I surveyed a bunch of you what you thought it was. 13 of them that are actually very unhealthy. I think you'll love it as a good next step. Check it out.